My name is John Ferrara, and today is an amazing day because we're introducing something that I think is going to change the way that companies engage. As we shared earlier, so many of the world uses spreadsheets for managing contacts, and we're here to change that. And with me, I've got Michaela Underdahl. Michaela, say hello.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be here today.
Michaela is our marketing lead and so much more at Nimble. She is really passionate about our Nimble community, which is why she has been intimately involved in managing that outreach and nurturing of that community through social media, and now manages our marketing team. And you're lucky to have her to do the overview. For those that don't know me, my name is John Ferrara. I'm the CEO of Nimble. I feel lucky to be able to work with this team and to serve you. I've been building relationship management systems all my life, starting in the DOS days with Goldmine. And I got back into it because I feel that social media has changed the way that we work, play, buy, and sell, and that our CRMs should be more relationship focused as opposed to just sales focused. And for those that don't know, CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. Today, I think it stands mainly for Customer Reporting Management. And with workflows, we're changing that even more. So here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to do a general overview about what is the concept of Nimble workflows. Then we're going to get into the details. We're going to talk about what is a board and a list and a card, and what are templates and how do you use them? How do you personalize them? And then we're going to get into the weeds about how do you add context into workflows, and when do you move contacts from one stage to another, and how do you add contacts not just from within the Nimble app, but from wherever you engage. And if you think about it, that's the best place for a workflow, because why would you connect with somebody on LinkedIn if you didn't have a process you wanted to put them through in order to achieve an ideally mutually beneficial outcome? Or how many times have you opened up an email and found that you needed to do something with that person as a follow-up, and you don't really do it because you don't have a process or a workflow to do it? And then we're going to close out with some special offers. And so let's talk about the concept of Nimble workflows. The idea is that CRMs aren't just for salespeople, they're for everybody in the company, and that everybody in the company is part of the team that engages with the constituency around your business. I say constituency because it's not just sales, not just prospects and customers that sales and marketing people touch in order to grow your business. At Nimble, we connect to editors, analysts, bloggers, influencers, third-party developers, investors, advisors, prospects, and customers. And it's everybody across the team, for the most part, that's involved in that engagement. And it's not just, like I said, salespeople. You might have a workflow for hiring people or onboarding new hires, et cetera. And we're going to talk about that. So the main idea of Nimble workflows is we used to try to manage outreach for PR or investors or other areas of the business through spreadsheets and or things like Trello. And the problem with project tools like Trello or spreadsheets is they don't tie the contacts and the companies that you're connecting to back to the contact records that you're connecting with them on. And so therefore you have this disconnect where this is static spreadsheet or this to-do list that isn't connected to the people and company that you're doing them with. So it's not in the workflow that you're doing when you're having emails with them or meetings with them or engaging with them in social. And so I think it's important to relate the workflow processes that you're doing across a company to the contact records that your contact and company records that you're doing it with. And the other key idea is that workflows happen across the entire company, and you need to have a 360-degree view of the history of interactions that your team and yourself have had with those contacts across the entire company. So there's repeatable business processes that you have from a variety of outreaches that you do across sales, marketing, customer service, accounting, in the areas of hiring and influencer marketing, fundraising, professional networking, etc. And now you have a contact platform that's designed for more than just salespeople. It goes across the whole company, and it can manage all those repeatable business people and company business processes that you do and relate them back to the contacts. But the thing is that if I was to challenge each of you to document the workflow processes that you do today, I'm sure you have them, but maybe you don't have them documented, or you haven't thought about how to apply those processes across the various departments for all the different outreaches that you do. And that's why we went and surveyed our customers and all the project tools that exist out there to build pre-built workflow templates that that are ready to use for all the different common use cases that you have, and we'll dive into that. The cool thing is that when you select a template, you could tailor it, personalize it to yourself to modify the stages and the fields that you need in order to make it your own. And then finally, you can take these views and have a board view, which you see right here. This is actually a board view right here. So there's stages and cards on a board, and you can look at it in a list view because we're kind of comfortable with that list view. And one of the new things, excuse me, that we'll be adding soon is when you click on a card, you'll see the contact record on the right with the fields that are editable right there. And also on the list view, you can now view it in just a straight spreadsheet view or in a broken segmented stage view. And then finally, the coolest thing about Nimble Workflows is that they work with you where you live, in your email inbox, inside social, and everywhere else you engage, including the business apps that you use. And so with that, Michaela, take us away and let's do a deep dive.
Let's do it.
Oh, one last thing. Questions. Ask questions. We'll be in the background answering them, and we'll compile them and answer them in full at the end.
Perfect. So let me expand here and go to workflows. So here we are in workflows. As John mentioned earlier, you can review and start working with reviews on the main home bar here. We decided to expand on our previous feature that was called lead pipelines. And based on the feedback we have gathered from you and the surveys we have done with our current customers, we decided to expand on the use case of it. So workflows can now be used by the entire company, and we made it easier by inputting templates and predefined stages. So before we get into it, I wanted to make sure that we covered the fact that there was a little change in there, and I wanted to make sure that everybody understands that you can still use workflows for the original use case that we developed our lead pipelines for, to use it to declutter your sales pipelines. Because as you know, if you're using a regular sales pipeline, sometimes the first few stages of your pipeline can get overwhelmed with new leads. And there's a lot that needs to happen before a lead turns into a deal or a sales opportunity. So you can create a board or a spreadsheet view to pre-qualify your leads, or you can use it for, you can use workflows for any other processes in any other department. So when we are on workflows, you will first land on the board view, and we decided to go with this one first because it makes it easier to visualize exactly where you are with everybody. So when I mentioned that it takes a lot to basically move your relationships to the right, to do something with them, it's easier to see where they are in the board view. But workflows consist not only from of boards, but also the list view, as I covered. And the list view is very familiar to all of us spreadsheet view. So if this is the view that works better for you, you can definitely use it to manage your relationships and your all your company processes. The great thing about the list view is that they are inline editable. So just like in the spreadsheet, you can make any changes directly from here without having to go into the contact record. So if there's a change in any contact information for any of the people you are dealing with, you can make the change directly in here. You can also move them to the next stage here as well.
Michaela, can I ask you to show them how to convert that list view from the segmented stage view to just a straight up list view? It's under I think settings. No, sorry. This is a new thing that we recently added. It's under configure, go to list view. And then I think it's under configure table. And then the stages, click that button. So this allows you to look at it all in a spreadsheet view, and then you can sort it on any of those columns and use it just like a spreadsheet, but it wouldn't necessarily be graphically broken up by the stage view. Click that back on. This view breaks it all up in the stage view, two different views. Thanks, Michaela.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is, I'm just going to keep this one to make it a little cleaner. So as I covered, you can quickly move people to the next stage from here and make any changes into the view you already have. In case, and it's very likely that this view will not work for you, you can easily configure the table here. And when you select contact field, you will have the option to add any existing field in Nimble and any custom field that you may have created with a template, or you or anybody else on your team may have created. So this can be a custom field containing any specific information based on your use case. It can be if you're using, since we're on the influencer marketing use case here, so if you are using workflows to nurture relationships with influencers, you're driving them to do some sort of a collaboration with your company and your brand, you might want to capture information such as the platform that they actually are influencers on. Do they have a podcast, or are they a famous blogger? Do they contribute to any news outlet? So that can be a specific information you might want to bring up here, and you can type keywords in here. So I can just type it here, add it to this view, and you also have the option to drag and drop. So I want to make sure that it definitely shows the phone number. I want to see the email of the person so I can easily contact them and I don't have to hunt for that information. I want to see the tags that I also apply to the contact records to give me additional information about maybe what type of an influencer they are and so on. Employment in this case, I don't think I need it, so I'm going to uncheck that to kind of clean it up. I also don't need the address, but I do want to see if they have a podcast. If so, what the podcast URL is, so I can go listen to it and see if maybe John would be a great guest for this influencers podcast. So when I'm done, I can just click away, and as you can see, the view kind of cleaned up for me, and I can only focus on the information that I can actually see here. So again, you can inline edit, make any changes directly from here. And now I would like to go back to the boards view. And again, this is completely up to you based on your preference, whatever view will work better for you. In the board view, you can utilize these cards. And the same way as I just showed you how you can customize the fields that you are seeing in the list view, you can also customize the view of the individual card. So as you can see, I selected the podcast URL and also the podcast field here as well, but I want to see if I want to also bring up additional information. So I'm going to click Configure Fields on the right side. and I can make any changes here. I can also bring up information such as last contacted by my team to make sure that we are properly nurturing the relationship. So you can add as many fields as you want, and they can be Nimble's default fields and any custom fields as well. So regarding tags, they display here, and also the contact information shows here. One of the very important and unique things about workflows in Nimble when we compare it to project management tool or managing relationships and processes in spreadsheets is the fact that automatically workflows relate to your company and contact records. So once I add John here to my workflow board, and I'm in the process of researching if there is a good fit for collaboration. So my first stage was identified. That's usually a bunch of people that might or might not end up being a good fit. Then you move them to the research part. Let's say that's when you do a little more dive into the person, who they are, what their company is all about, what is it they do, and is there a good fit. So the fact that Nimble automatically links the person that you put on your workflow board or list view to their company saves you a lot of time on hunting for this information, because on the right side under interactions, since you have connected your email and your calendars to Nimble, we will automatically summarize the history of interaction. So you know exactly when was the last time you talked to them, what did you discuss, what the next steps were, who is responsible for the next steps, are there any follow-up events scheduled, are there any notes that you or anybody else on your team added to that contact record. And of course, you can also add new notes, review additional information, and also review all the custom fields you may have created in more detail. So when we go back to the workflows board here, before we jump into using templates, I also want to make sure that we cover how you can easily move everybody through the funnel. So you can drag and drop. This way. And you have also other options to move people either to a different stage manually, if dragging and dropping doesn't work for you very well. And you can also exit them as successful. So when we go back to the use case of using workflows for like a sales use case to pre-qualify your leads before they turn into a sales opportunity, sometimes during the qualification or pre-qualification process, you realize they are not a good fit. So you can exit them unsuccessfully, or you can exit them successfully. And this could be used for teams that collaborate together on multiple workflow boards or lists, and maybe you just transition them to somebody else's board. And of course, if the qualification process was successful, you have the option to convert to a deal, and then they would automatically be added to your sales pipeline. So then you can add the monetary value, the projected close date, and so on. And let's say you would like to utilize our templates. You can click on the drop-down menu here on plus add new workflow. And on the left side of my screen, you can see all the different templates that we have created. So we have created templates for accounting, business development, fundraising, human resources, investing, job search, lead qualification, marketing, networking, orders, different projects. So you can use Nimble's workflows for project management as well. And also we have several real estate examples, and I will go to that a little later. I will expand on that. Also sales and support. So let's just pick one for business development. And if you decide to use this template, you can select it here. And as you are creating the board, you always have the option to change the name of the template. You can add to it, make any changes. And especially if you are using workflows as a team, it's helpful to add a description. So everybody on your team can hover over it and know exactly what this specific workflow has been created for. Regarding the stages, since we selected the template, these are the suggested stages. Of course, you can rename them, and you can also add new stage. You can pick where the ideal stage will go to. And one important thing to keep in mind as you are creating the stages, once the workflow board is created with the stages that you have saved, you will not be able to delete them, because then it would mess up the reporting capabilities of Nimble. So that's something to keep in mind as you are creating the stages. You will still be able to add them this way, but not completely delete them. If you test this feature, or if you create a workflow board that later you will want to delete, first make sure that the board or a list doesn't contain any contacts, because you will not be able to archive it or completely delete it. You will first have to basically remove all the contacts from the board or the list view. So I mentioned you can change the name of the stage here, and you can also say add the stage instructions. And again, this is very important, especially if you're working as a team, because this can guide your team to follow the structure that the workflow board was created with. So if you are using it to pre-qualify your leads, you can give instructions to your entire team. What are all the things that need to happen before the contact is really ready to be moved to the next stage, and use it maybe as a checklist for them to go through to make sure that they are following the structure.
Michaela, can I add something here? So the field right now, moving cards between stages is a manual thought process. So you define your stages based off of the typical repeatable workflow that you have in your company. You decide who goes into what board, and then how you move them between stages, you define, and you could document in that text in the description. So for example, in influencer marketing, I might identify people, but I will only move them into research after I've gone through and looked at their background and made sure they were a fit. But we will be adding automation to workflows that will allow you to define if this and that. So you could say, if I add a contact to a board and these fields are this, then move them to the next stage or to this other stage. And so we want to build as much automation as we can to facilitate the automatic flow of contacts through your processes and workflows. Go ahead, Michaela.
Thank you for expanding on that. I already showed you how you can exit contacts from your boards as successful or unsuccessful. You have to pick the unsuccessful reasons, and this will come in handy regarding reporting that we will cover just in a second. So you'll have the option to add the and you will know what they are based on your specific use case, but what are you can add the reasons why people fall off your nurture board. What are some of the reasons that it doesn't work out? So sometimes it's just a not good fit, maybe it wasn't in their budget, or just depending completely on your specific use case. So you get to define all these reasons, and again, it will really help your entire team to make it easy to make sure that they really add all the necessary information that you can then rely on and pull it up in Nimble and act on it. So you can later pull up all the list of the people that maybe it wasn't in their budget last year, so maybe next year it will, maybe it wasn't the best timing. So in 6 months, you can pull up the list of these people and go back to them. And when we go to the board card fields here, so for every template, we picked fields that we think might be helpful for you to use, so you don't have to basically think through the whole process, and you can just run with a template and just make slight modifications. So for every template, there are suggested fields that will be created for you to use. And again, you can make any changes. And if you decide to go with any of the custom ones, we make it easy for you to create them manually. So these are templates. And when we go back to the board, I want to show you how easy it is to add new contacts to a board. So you can click here, add new contact. This is one of the ways to do it straight from the workflows view. So you can either select from an existing contact record. So if you know that this person or the company already exists in your database, you can just start searching for them. So I'm going to look for John. He's already in my workflow. If there was a duplicate, both of them would show up and Nimble will help me to merge the duplicates. In case it is, in case I'm adding a new person, I can manually type it here and then click save. And Nimble again will do its best to keep my database clean. So it will give me the option to merge duplicates and also select from an existing contact record so I don't create duplicates. Or in case it's just a person with the same first and last name, I will have the option to skip and create. So this way you can add existing records straight from the board view as well as the list view. You can also add brand new people and brand new companies. And I want to show you how easy it is to also add people to workflow straight from your inbox. So I just received this email from Yvonne, and Nimble knows that I don't have her in Nimble yet and already did its research to find additional information about her. And since she's an influencer, I definitely want to build a rich contact record for you. You can see how easy it is by a few clicks. At this point, she's still not in my Nimble database, but I can decide to add her with just one click. Now she's in my Nimble database. I can mark her as important, and I can add her to my workflow by clicking on the button here. Pick from the workflow board that you have created, and also pick the appropriate stage. So I'm going to keep her in the research part of my workflow board. And just to let you know, recently we have added the ability to reorganize the widgets you see on Nimble Prospector. So you can do it by going and clicking on the three dots here, clicking reorder and edit widgets. And this way you can control what you see here depending on your use case, just ensuring that you don't have to scroll through a lot of unnecessary information, and you can really customize what you're seeing, not just on Nimble, but also in your inbox and on the browser extension. So you can also hide certain widgets that are not important to you. And of course, move them around this way. So now she's been added to my workflow board. Straight from my inbox, I can go to her contact record in Nimble and do the next steps. Maybe I can create a task for myself or somebody else on my team to help me nurture the relationship with her. I also want to show you how you can use it on any social media site. Nimble Prospector, for those of you that don't have it installed yet, is a browser extension that is available on all the main browsers. So I'm showing it to you on Chrome, but we are also available on Firefox, Safari, and Microsoft Edge. So as long as you have it in your browser, only bring it up when you need it, and you can do it by clicking on our icon here, and then you can basically hover over any name anywhere on the internet if it's hyperlinked this way, Nimble will read it and help you do the research, build a rich contact record for the person, and you can add them to your workflows again. Or you can actually go to somebody's contact record, and if the name is not hyperlinked, you can highlight it, and this will work anywhere on the internet as well. And Nimble will do the same thing for you. So I'm going to build a record for Jack, add him to my Nimble database, and also add him to my workflow board. So this is how easy it is to prospect using the combination of prospector and workflows, and this will ensure that no leads are falling through the cracks. Soon we'll be also adding notifications and also automation, so it's easier to work as a team and you get notified when contacts get moved to a different stage. So again, things are not falling through the cracks. So we covered how you can add people from social media, from your inbox, and you can also do it from anywhere on the internet, any company website. If you are doing additional research about your prospects and your customers, and you go into the about the company stage, about team part of the website, and maybe you copy and paste the entire bio into Nimble, you can use Prospector there, and also in any third-party application. So if you are using MailChimp, if you are using Xero or QuickBooks, you can also use Prospector there and then bring people into workflows straight from that application as well.
Michaela, can you show it in adding a contact from Outlook or Office Suite Microsoft 365?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me just launch Outlook real quick.
And I love all the questions that we're getting. We're really getting some great feedback and questions on using Nimble. And somebody asked again if you could just show them how to convert a workflow card to a deal when you get a moment.
Okay, so here I am in my Outlook. And looks like I might not be.
You know what? I'll show it later.
That sounds good. Okay.
Thank you.
So when we go back to Workflows board, I also want to cover privacy and reporting and how you can use Nimble segmentation to pull up your contacts and do some basic reporting before we launch full reporting capabilities for workflows. So for any privacy related settings, you can always navigate to the top right corner of your Nimble account and go to settings. And on the left side of the contact record of the view, you can go into privacy settings. And here, if you're not aware, you can create as many privacy groups as you want. So this is very useful for our team accounts. So you can create an admin group that maybe will have access to doing anything inside of Nimble, including bulk exporting, importing, and also management of any of your workflow stages. So you can select certain people in your company that will have the ability to recreate stages and make any changes regarding workflows. As you create these groups and as you onboard more people into Nimble, you can just assign them the privacy settings that have been previously created by adding them to a specific existing group. So in regards to what you can do with reporting and workflows, you can go to contacts here, and use our segmentation. Before we do that, I also want to bring your attention to the left panel here on the main context view, and we added workflows here so you can quickly jump into them. So if you want to see contacts that are in any of your workflows, you can quickly select them this way and view them in the list. And again, you can completely define the columns that you are seeing here. So you would do that by clicking on Configure Table. You can select from any default or custom field, move them around. And as you can see, you can also pin some. So that will kind of freeze it in place, like in the spreadsheet. So you can really only focus on the information that is important to you. If you know that you are wanting to review the contacts in a specific workflow, you can pick a specific one. And if you want to run some sort of a segmentation, you can do so here, contacts again, and then add contact filter. These filters you see here, these are just filters that we added there as quick filters. These are some of the filters that our users use a lot, but you can segment on any filters that are existing in Nimble. And to make it easier, so you don't have to go through this really long list, we made it searchable. So if you know what you're looking for, in this case, I'm looking for all the different ways how I can segment on workflows. I can just start typing the name workflows, and this way I will be able to pull up all the people that I have in active workflow stage, and I can pick which one it is. Additionally, I can also bring up all the people that basically dropped off my workflow unsuccessfully, and this way I will be able to go back to them in case they exited because of the reason being it was not in their budget, it wasn't a good time. So I can always pull up the list of them and then maybe send them all a group message and request a phone call to see, or just check in with them. And you can also pull up all the people based on how long they have been in a certain stage. So I want to see all the people that I added to any of my workflows in the last 14 days. And here I can see what stage they are in. I can also make any changes here. It's also inline editable. And again, you can definitely control what is it you're seeing here, and you can also save this as a saved segment. So this way you will know that everything that's here on the left side will be automatically updated by every time a new contact record enters your database and they match the search criteria, they would be automatically added to there. So consider also using the search together with the save segment feature to make sure that you don't have to recreate searches and you can save time this way. So the last thing I wanted to show you today was another template that is one of the most used ones these days, and that's a real estate example. So for our real estate professionals using Nimble, we decided to add templates that you can use to manage both your sellers and buyers combined. And some of the agents that we surveyed, they actually said they would prefer separating their buyers and sellers. So this is completely up to you. But if you're in real estate, you want to manage sellers and buyers on a either list or board view, you can decide to use the template. And as you can see, these are the stages that are suggested for you with the suggested stage description. And this can also be modified. So if you are in real estate and you work as a team, or you work with an assistant and they help you to manage your workflow and all your follow-ups, the description fields can really come in handy. So again, they know exactly what needs to happen before the person can be moved to the next stage. Regarding the fields, these are all the suggested fields that we have created here, and it's up to you if you decide to create them. So for our real estate users, you can choose to create a custom field and mention input the information into Nimble, such as the property type, the property address, the size, and any information that might help you to serve your clients better. So you always know the asking price. You can also see if they have been pre-approved, pre-qualified, what the lender's name is, or what their budget is, any must-have. So you have this information at your fingertips every time you are working with your clients. And then regarding these fields, you can easily display them on the individual cards and control what you're seeing without having to
me the screen, please. And first off, thank you so much, Michaela. That was amazing. It was there's a lot to cover in workflows. It's amazing what the development team has been able to cover in such a short period of time. So going through the questions, one of the first ones was a question by Chris, and he uses ActiveCampaign for market automation. And his question was, how Nimble workflow should be integrated with my market automation system, which things should be in Nimble, which things in ActiveCampaign. And if you think about a market automation system, it's typically used to capture a lead from a website and then put it on a drip track. And so what you could do is you could use a thing like Zapier to connect your market automation system like ActiveCampaign to Nimble. And anybody that you capture a lead from and put them on a drip track, you could put them in a marketing workflow where you see those leads that go into your first column that says that they're part of a drip track in ActiveCampaign. And then based off of the lead qualification that you do in ActiveCampaign, you could use Nimble to then start moving your qualified leads through a lead pipeline. But Chris, let's discuss this more. As I said earlier, I'd love to collaborate and learn more from you. The next question is, Steve said, deals is basically workflows, and do you plan to move deals under workflows under the menu bar? And the answer is simply no, because deals is a very focused thing that's all about a dollar amount outcome. And our customers who do manage opportunities and deals, they're actually looking for us to expand our deals, to give them the ability to do custom fields and tags, to be able to have recurring revenue, to be able to have inventory lists that they can select from, a lot of different things that they want in deals. So we're going to keep deals and workflows separate. We're going to completely redesign deals and expand its capabilities. But you can use workflows for simple sales processes, but most importantly for lead qualification. And one of the questions was, how do you convert a lead into a deal? You go right there into the three dots and you basically say convert to deal. Next question was, how do you get your original identified clients into the workflow, especially if they exist already? One way is just add the contact directly from the list here. So essentially, you could add any existing contact into your workflow. You could also do it from the contact record itself. So if you're in a contact record, you could easily add them to a workflow right here. If you're using your contact browser extension, you can easily add contacts to workflows from your browser. So if I'm reading an article and I see somebody in the article that I want to put into a workflow, I could highlight that person's name. Nimble will automatically go build a record for that person, and then I can go ahead and add them to a workflow directly from here. I could even do it in Microsoft 365. That was one of the questions. How do you do it from Microsoft 365? And so what you would do is you'd go and sign in to Microsoft 365. And then once you're here, then go ahead and go to your Outlook. If I click the right button, I'd be dangerous. Okay, so there is my Outlook. And then from Outlook, I can go ahead and open up an email, and from there, I just open up the Nimble add-in, and then from there, I can go ahead and work with contacts. I can add contacts, etc. Currently, we do not have workflows in the UI of the Outlook add-in. It is forthcoming shortly. The next one was, can you automate which user is assigned to a card at which stage? Can I shift the user as it goes through the flow? We will be adding automation to workflows. Currently, assigning contacts is manual. Can you go through adding contacts and workflows again from email? I think we did that, but just real quick, if I am inside of my email and I want to add a contact to a workflow, then I can just go ahead and select the contact and add the contact to my Nimble, and then add them to the workflow directly from there. When I hear workflow, I think automated an email or communication being sent when a contact is put in a stage. Will Nimble automate a process when I move a contact to a new stage? So the answer to that is yes, we will in the future. So today, adding contacts to a workflow board and deciding when to move them to a new workflow board is all defined by you and done by you manually. We will be adding automated processes to Nimble overall, including workflows, which will allow you to say if this and that for people and companies. So you could say if a contact has this data in those fields, then do that, which could be shift the stage. It could also be send an email, etc. So we'll be developing automated processes and applying it to workflows and other places. Then the last question, I think, unless there are more questions that I don't see, is how do you freeze a column? And I think, Michaela, that somebody saw you freeze the column other than the contact record. Is that true? Do we do that?
Yes, so you can do it on the contacts view, and when you click on configure table, do you see the little pin sign on the right side too?
Yeah.
So this is how you basically freeze those that you want to see.
Great. And does that work in the workflows as well?
In the list view, yes. So when you switch to list view and click configure table,
okay,
you can do the same.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I learned something new every day. I love it. Okay. Did we cover all the questions, Michaela?
Let me check. So Jamie's asking, could you review how to use workflows for project management? I know we are short on time, but John, if you want to quickly review the template, but Jamie, we are going to be doing a specific training webinars about workflows. So feel free to check our website with our webinars. Vivian, can you please share the landing page where people can sign up? So we will be covering different use cases in more detail. And Aaron's asking, estimated timeline on the workflow automation rolling out.
So our first automations are actually going to be rolling out in the next few weeks, and then a little at a time. And so the first automation is notification, getting notifications of changes in workflows, but further automation will be forthcoming. And I think that Jamie's question on workflows for project management, if you think about what is project management, it's very similar to what we're doing here. You might have a separate view like a Gantt view, and then you have sort of start and end times for different stages, etc. And so if you think about a post-sales process. If you sell a customer something, you need to roll it out. That's a project, implementing what you sold. And you could use Nimble for pre-sales and post-sales workflows, including implementing what you sold. And if you're talking about project management, traditional things like Gantt views, etc., it's definitely something that we're going to look into expanding workflows to have additional views. Right now, we have a board view and we have a list view. I think a Gantt view would be kind of cool for people that are into more in-depth project management. And with that, Michaela, I think that we are a wrap.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for your questions and feedback. Take advantage of those offers and reach out to us at care@nimble.com, and feel free to also connect with John and I on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you so much for connecting with us. And one last question that jumped in. Steve said, can you use companies in workflows? Yes, you can add either people or companies to workflows. So it doesn't matter which it is. I can go over to the company level and add the company to the workflow, or I can add a person to the workflow. Don't forget to take advantage of our specials for existing customers and new customers, and we will send the special offers in the follow-up email with a link to the recording. And please share any ideas on improving workflows, including any workflow processes that you're doing in your specific business across different departments or in different vertical industries. And with that, thank you so much for attending, and have an amazing rest of your week.